Dear students, we already make a study on the ideology of colonialism, and today we have to make a study on stages stages of colonial expansion in India and how this was executed. We have to identify certain development or expansion in the colonial process. First stage that was of commercial colonialism. Commercial colonialism that we means that is linked with the commerce, trade. So this commerce and trade that was developed as part of the geographical discoveries of the world. You in your earlier classes you studied about the geographical expeditions carried out by Magellan, Columbus, Bartholomew Dias, and others. Europeans were very courageous, Europeans were very enthusiastic, and they were guided by the ideology of enlightenment by scientific spirit. That is why they dared to travel the various parts of the world withstanding the pressure of the sea. And they went into various parts of the world, made negotiations with the local rulers, and collected much wealth, spices, and other properties, and that was carried out to their country. So, first stage is marked by commercial colonialism. Second stage, that is the industrial colonialism, that we already make a comment. How the industrial revolution that was revolutionized the economic process of the world. The industrialization or industrial revolution that was a byproduct of the discoveries of the machines, discoveries of the new energy sources, discoveries of new ideas, all things that created industrial revolution. One is that the discovery or invention of the steam engine. Steam engine, earlier time almost all machines were hand driven or otherwise driven by the charcoal, by using charcoal, but the discovery of steam engine that makes remarkable changes in the functioning of the machines. Steam engine that was connected with the ships and that facilitated the easy movement of ships from one place to another. Second one is that of the development of railway, launching of the railway system. So these two important one that is steam engine and introduction of railway that precipitated the economic process of the European world. After the industrial revolution that is connected with the process of production, Europeans who were very eager for getting markets. So second stage that is the industrial colonialism. First one that is commercial colonialism, second stage is that of industrial colonialism. Third stage is that of new imperialism. So there is an argument that first Europeans came just for trade, but when they identify the potentiality, that whatever may be, natural resources, economy, wealth, everything, when they identify the potentiality of the Asiatic and African countries, they decide a permanent station, they decide a permanent settlement in these places. So the permanent settlements that demands the support of an ideology. Without an ideological background, without a justification of the rule, it is very difficult to survive the colonialism. So they wanted the ideology. We already make a reference about the ideology developed by the Europeans. One that is we make a reference that of civilizing mission, social Darwinism, ecological theory. That is the ideology developed by them to justify the rule. So imperialism, that is also an ideology of colonialism. Imperialism, that is an ideology of colonialism. So third stage of colonialism, that is new imperialism. Fourth stage, that is post-colonial periods. By 1950, almost all Asian and African countries were liberated from the clutches of the Europeans. But even after Asian and African countries got independence, colonialism that is experiencing. There is an argument that when once we experience colonial ideology or colonialism, it is very difficult to escape from that ideology. We see that colonial masters differentiated the people on the basis of their color, black and white people, we and other, men and women, black and white. That kind of differentiation was developed by the Europeans. Once they say that Indian people are childish and childlike, but at the same time they make an argument that Indian people are very cruel and barbarous. Once they are child and childlike, but at the same time they are the barbarians. So childlike people, they say that our nationalist or nationalist thinkers all belongs to, in the European opinion, all belongs to childlike. So that kind of ideology was developed by the Europeans. We are now experiencing colonialism. Even after getting independence, we are experiencing colonialism. Our way of speech, our expression, our behavior with others, our dress style, our language, all that is influenced by the colonialism. So in an indirect way, we are experiencing colonialism. That is being known as neo-colonialism. And fifth stage, that is of globalization. Globalization, in one sense, that is an expansion, and other sense, that is a contraction. Expansion, that we means we are expanding outside our boundaries, cutting across the geographical boundaries. Our ideas, our spirit, our movement, all that is expanding. So in this way, colonialism, that is an expansion. Globalization, that is an expansion. But now the entire world is in our fingertip. In every moment, we are listening and hearing whatever is happening in the entire part of the globe. In our fingertip, and their globe is in our fingertip. So in this, it is a confinement or it is a contraction. So globalization is one sense an expansion, at the same time that is a contraction. So students, we identified the 5 important stages of colonialism. One, that is of commercial colonialism, then industrial colonialism, then new imperialism, then again neo-colonialism, and fifth stage, that is of globalization. So the execution of the expansion of colonialism, that was first stage, that is of joint stock companies. You heard about the joint stock companies that was developed in Europe. English East India Company, Dutch East India Company, French East India Company, Portuguese East India Company, all were the prominent joint stock companies. So when economy that was expanded, economic process that was precipitated or facilitated, it was very difficult for a single individual to carry out this difficult task. The proper execution of this economic process that demands an organizational setup, a very strong organizational setup that is needed. So for this, the merchants of the European countries, they are united together. That was resulted by the formation of companies. There are two kinds of companies: regulated companies and joint stock companies. Regulated companies and joint stock companies. Regulated company means a group of individuals or individual merchants joined together and they are carrying out the economic activities. But the joint stock companies that have a very strong organizational setup or framework in which a group of merchants join together and they put their money in a common pool, and its management was given to board of directors. So English East India Company that was formed in the year 1600 under the auspices of Queen Elizabeth. She was a very clever, very efficient ruler, Tudor ruler of Britain, and under the auspices of Queen Elizabeth, English East India Company that was formed. So this economic process and political expansion that was executed by the joint stock company, especially that of British East India Company. So first you see that British withdrawal or British setback from various parts of the world. You studied about the American War of Independence. The American people who were actually the British migrators, American people under the able leadership of George Washington, they defeated Britain. When the British were expelled from America, they turned their attention towards eastern countries because their population was exploding or growing every day. They wanted new markets, they wanted agriculture expansion. Some of the people had to escape from the religious persecution, so they wanted more and more geographical areas for settlements. So after the setback from America, first they turned down to Asian countries. The first Asian country or Asian geographical area captured by the British was that of Ceylon. That was in 1802 from Dutch. Then they conquered Saint Lucia, Trinidad and Tobago, the West Indies Islands from Spain. By 1810, they conquered Singapore, very important crucial military points. They conquered Mauritius. So some of the places first British conquered or captured from other European countries. One of the quality of the British was that of they sent number of expeditions that was executed by researchers, scholars, medicinal practices, scientists. So a team of scientists and scholars were sent to different parts of the world to explore the possibility of that region. Medicinal properties, type of the soil, color of the soil, quality of the people, nature, climate, everything that was subjected to a detailed study by the researchers and scientists who were sent by the British, and an expedition that was also sent to Australia. And following this expedition, two important places, one that is in the coastal area of Australia, Port City and Sydney, that was identified, and in Australia they settled. By 1840s, New Zealand accepted the sovereignty of Queen of Britain. In this way, India that was conquered after the Battle of Plassey and Buxar, you are very well known that area. So in this way, a major part of the Asian countries that was conquered by the British. Next, the target that of Canada. Canada that belongs to North American continent. North American continent, very near to that of USA, present USA. When the British lost their grip on South America, they were migrating. They were moving towards North America, especially Canada. The British loyalists, supporters of the rulers, who were first migrators to Canada. So when they reached Canada, this place, especially the western part of the North America, was already occupied by France, and the settlement was popularly known as Quebec. British conquered some of the place, and the British settlement was properly known as Ontario. Quebec, that was the settlement of France, and Ontario, that became the settlement of Britain. You know, by language, by physical appearance, by culture, social practice, these two people, French settlers and British people, are different. Naturally, confrontation arose. There was much conflict, continuous conflict between the British settlers and French settlers, and finally, French settlers was defeated by the British settlers. And by 1763, a treaty of Paris that was signed, and an amicable solution was made between French settlers and British settlers. While studying about the colonization process of Canada, we have to study about one aspect. One is Durham Report, that is very important in the colonization process of Canada. Durham Report was prepared by Earl of Durham. Earl of Durham. Durham Report drafted a policy concerned with the future administration of Canada. Canada, now that was administered by a governor appointed by the British. As per this Durham report, the Lower Canada or Quebec occupied by France, and Upper Canada, that is known as Ontario, occupied by the British, that was united together. And in place of the governor appointed by the British, a new parliament and a new ministry selected by the people of Canada was formed. So, the Durham Report of 1832, that is considered as the second Magna Carta of the British parliamentary affairs is concerned. So, the colonization process of Canada, that is very important. And last, we have a brief mention on how Africa that was colonized by the British. Africa is a land that called as dark continent by the Europeans. Actually, the human species, their ancestors, first human species, Homo sapiens have origin in Africa and then migrated or expanded or diffused to various parts of the world. Africa is very rich in metals and minerals. African culture, we already know about the highly developed culture but in spite of this good qualities, Africa was identified as the dark continent by the Europeans because of the color of the people that occupied it. And Africa, Europeans sent large number of expeditions under Livingstone, Mango Park, and others. They made an exploration of Africa. They studied about the type of the soil. They studied about the natural properties, and that revealed the natural potentiality of Africa to the European world. So next, Europeans turned their attention towards Africa, but that place, some of the area of Africa that was already occupied by the Dutch. And Dutch settlers, Dutch laborers, they were known as Boers. So British came to Africa and they first colonized Rhodesia. Rhodesia that became the first British colony in Africa. And um, Dutch settlers were known as Boers, Dutch laborers, they were known as Boers. In 1833, Britain abolished the slave labor. When slave labor that was abolished by the British, that seriously hit the prospects of the Boer laborers, and they moved to other places, that including Gold Islands and nearby areas that was occupied by the Dutch. But when gold that was identified in Gondwana land and Gold Island, the British turned their attention towards that. So the attempt of the Britain to capture Gold Island from Boers or Dutch, that led to a war between Dutch and British, that is known in the history as the Boer War, BOER, Boer War, that is between 1899 to 1902. And Boer War, that is very important in the history of Africa, the colonization process of Africa. Britain emerged as victorious because of the mighty military system. They emerged victorious, and the entire Africa that was colonized by Britain. So, in this way, the colonization process of Africa and Asian countries that was finished or finalized by the Britain. So, in these two important parts, first part we made a reference about the colonial ideology, and second part we make a study on the implementation or practice of colonialism. Thank you for your patient hearing. Thank you.